You are listening to the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA, here in New Orleans. And it's almost like Mardi Gras up there in Washington. They're throwing money off the floats. It's not beads, it's money to all the, hey, you want this? You got it. The hundreds of billions of dollars. Apparently we got enough money just to burn here in Washington. So much for draining the swamp. Joining us now, Senator Bill Cassidy from the great state of Louisiana. Now, why is it that you're up there while I'm down here, Senator? How are you?
Laura Ingraham, I am on my way to New Orleans this afternoon. And as far as I'm concerned, anybody that knows how to enjoy life will be on that plane with me. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable in New Orleans than it will be here.
Oh, no. So tell us what happened. They were all vilifying Rand Paul. I totally agreed with what Rand Paul said yesterday, as did, I think, the majority of my listeners. This doesn't seem like what Trump campaigned on to drain the swamp.
I voted against it. When I ran for office in 2008, I ran for office because I thought, my gosh, Republicans have lost their way. We're spending money like we shouldn't be spending money. We've lost the sense of fiscal responsibility. And I just had deja vu all over again. Because last night we're voting on a bill which is just $400 billion. And some of it's disaster relief, very important. When Hurricane Katrina happened, I wasn't here, but I'm told they paid for the relief for Katrina by decreasing expenditures across the rest of the government by 1 or 2%. And with that savings, paid for the relief for Katrina. There's no effort like that. So anyway, Rand's right. Spending's out of control. There's a lot of good things in the bill. I'm for the military, absolutely, but you got to offset that spending.
Now, well, if you're going to spend the money on the military, then you got to do some real cutting elsewhere. And at some point, you are going to have to do entitlement reform. No one wants to do it in an election year. Maybe next year we'll do entitlement reform. But you're going to lose, perhaps lose the House of Representatives in November. Who knows? But I don't know how Republicans can go to the voters year after year and say, we're the party of fiscal responsibility, and then you do this. I don't understand this. And yet people I love, like Ron DeSantis, or if we lost me. But are we still there, James? Okay.
I'm hearing your voice.
Yeah. Well, Senator, sorry, we just had a little bit of a dropout, so I know you were responding to that. But people say, well, as you talk about the budget, it's boring, and I guess people can be bored by this. But this is our future. What does it mean when we have to borrow $400 billion as we have to do this quarter, which is the biggest borrowing we've done, the largest amount of borrowing we've done since 2010 after the downturn with the stimulus and everything else we spent? What does that mean for the country?
Yeah. Now, let me pause for a second. I do think that the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, and I do think the deregulation, I do think the business certainty that Trump's bringing, the emphasis upon American workers, not workers overseas, is going to trigger higher economic growth. And higher economic growth, you can have the same amount of GDP going to taxes, but because you got a bigger economy, you got more tax revenue to pay things off. So I do see a glimmer of hope, but that's related to the Tax Cut and Jobs Act bill. Otherwise, I share your concerns absolutely.
All right. Well, we could actually make money and start paying down our debt. I mean, the interest on the debt that we're paying it is going to be dwarfing our GDP if we don't do something about that. So that's the ultimate difficulty I think we're facing, Senator.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
So tell me what I should expect this weekend. I'm going to the What are we doing, Raymond? The Bacchus
We're
Ball?
going to Bacchus. Now, Senator, this is Laura's first Mardi Gras here in New Orleans.
Oh, gosh.
So we're going to Bacchus this weekend. I'm riding in it. She's going to go to the ball with my wife. What else should we see? What else should I absolutely take her to do?
There's going to be one. If you go to New Orleans, you can have fabulous food. You can hear great jazz. So you go see a parade, and people say, oh, it's a nice parade. I've seen Macy's parade on TV. A parade in New Orleans is totally different. They're throwing beads. Now, you might say, well, big deal, they're throwing beads. They're throwing beads, and you're going to be out there, and you're going to see octogenarians leaping into the air trying to get a bead. It really increases the fun factor. And instead of, Snoopy or some, thing with a hand waving back and forth, you're going to have floats that make fun of everything. The spirit of Mardi Gras is supposed to be a spoof on royalty. And so they're going to be spoofing all sorts of people. Folks in New Orleans, folks nationally, maybe even Laura Ingraham.
No, not Laura. I saw the floats of the coup d'etat tonight, and they've got the president, Mitch Landrieu, gets 2 floats.
Oh, no.
Him.
And Senator Cassidy, Kim Jong-un is in one of the floats as well. Oh, no, this is hilarious. You know what we're almost out of time, but we peeped into the Momus traditional ball last night, and we saw the men in masks, and they're wearing tails, and the women wearing full ball. Something like, I thought I was watching a period film for the 1800s. It was wild. It was incredible.
It is so much fun. And by the way, if you go with your family, it doesn't have to be wild. I'm taking my grandson. We're going to the aquarium and the zoo, as well as having great meals, as well as team floats. Fabulous time.
Awesome. Senator Cassidy, thank you so much for joining us. We'll take a break. Don't go away.